in my attempt to understand the mental universe that allowed Argentina to and not only accept but invite these Nazis, and the mental universe that allowed the crimes of the dictatorship to happen afterwards, I spent an inordinate amount of time studying the speeches of Francisco Franco, the dictator of Spain from 1936 to 1975, and the related writings of Argentine Catholic nationalists. A central theme for Franco and in the nationalists in Argentina is the perceived service that Hitler was unknowingly providing Christianity by undoing the, to them, unnatural and pernicious effects of the French Revolution. Franco, in his speeches, thrilled over and over again at the chance that Hitler was presenting Christianity by erasing French Revolution from history. Once Hitler had done his work in France and Belgium, Christian leaders could step in and abolish the evil separation of church and state, which obsessed Franco and obsessed the Argentine nationalists. The idea that the French Revolution had separated church and state, they needed for governments to be headed by the church once again. The only detail they hadn't figured out, and they wrote about this, is how they would get Hitler's permission to do this. And they decided in their writings that even if Hitler resisted the attempt to reimpose Christian governments in France, etc., they still felt it would be worthwhile to be on the side of Hitler to erase the heresies of the French Revolution. My job at the Herald, including reporting the delusional rants by Argentina's generals justifying mass murder as part of the cultural war that they were waging to save Christianity. In 1977, I wrote an article in the Herald on how General Abdel Vilas, a bloody crusader of this cultural war, traced subversion being what the military call terrorism, traced subversion back to the English 14th century philosopher William of Ockham. Ockham, I didn't know how to pronounce it exactly, of Ockham Raisins fame. Now, I'm not making this up. And just to make sure I'm not making it up, I went to the National Library, dug up the old Heralds, and I found my story, 18 August 1977, in the Herald. I'm quoting, "Vilas holds that Argentina's cultural war is part of a third world war, a process of dissolution at work in Western civilization for the past 5 centuries, initiated by the degraded scholasticism of Ockham." 2 weeks later, I reported on General Benjamin Menendez ranting on in the same vein. Argentina is one of the battlefields of what is in reality a third world war, he said in the speech. Now, why was I so sensitive to the fantastical ideological universe that so many Argentines inhabited? Because it was not just the generals, but I arrived in Argentina, and of course I'd never met my family. I'd gone to school a couple of years in Argentina from 7 to 9, but I didn't have any friends. So because the school system was built around this 1930s nationalist mindset, this kind of mental universe was not strange to them. It didn't seem strange to even the young people that I met. So why was I able to see it? And I think it was because I had not been born or schooled in Argentina. Now, I was born and raised in D.C., in Washington, D.C., and the truth is that in 1975, I was still in Dublin. I was studying English Lit at Trinity College, Dublin. At night, I worked at the Focus Theatre, which was an independent theatre group, one of the most important in Dublin. I was taking acting classes from Deirdre O'Connell, an Irish-American independent theatre producer. And then, as if magical wand had been, or an evil wand, I was stuck in the Herald translating this murderous, mindless drivel, fully aware that innocent people were being tortured and killed all around me. So I'd gone from, studying John Donne and W.B. Yeats and dabbling in Pablo Neruda at Trinity, and suddenly I was translating Abdel Vilas going on about the the degraded scholasticism of Occam being the reason why Marxism was a danger. So had I been born and raised in Argentina, and where the school system was still deeply steeped in this nationalist 1930s worldview, I might have had unquestioning faith in it, and not realized and not had the cognitive dissonance that was my constant companion in Argentina. In the months leading up to the dictatorship, before the coup, there was the idea that there was a huge guerrilla army that would take over power in Argentina and turn Argentina into a Cuban-style socialist state. And of course, there was guerrilla activity in Argentina, but not the kind that could have, the guerrillas in Argentina never occupied even a single city corner for more than half an hour. The number of people they killed is, I think, 600. So there couldn't have been more than 200 or 300, guerrillas who actually killed somebody. Which begs the question, who were those thousands of other innocent persons who were being thrown out of the airplanes? So Argentina's genocide, or as I have heard it best defined, a genocidal situation that did not acquire the proportions of a full-scale Holocaust, this genocide did not initiate as a response to guerrilla activity. In my mind, and according to this reading that I have, it was a response rather to the cultural war that the military believed had been initiated by the English philosopher Occam in the 14th century. That is why they had to kill so many, and not just those 200 or 300 armed guerrillas. Because in their minds, they weren't killing just guerrillas, they were leading a modern-day crusade to rid the land of infidels. And so this is not me theorizing today about the probable motives of the Argentine generals. What I've been reading to you is me at age 23 at the Buenos Aires Herald translating verbatim from their speeches in real time.